Welcome to the place. I am the Christian. We know that. You are an individual atheist who may decide to leave a comment at the end of this video after you've had some time to think about what I'm about to discuss with you. As you know, I'm a Christian who is fundamentally not interested in debating or arguing or proving myself right or you wrong. No, I care about, because it's refreshing, I care about what can we agree on. So here's the topic. There's this concept that we all as individuals, we have perceptions of what we believe is immoral, that morally it's wrong. Right? So we were thinking about things that you right now as an atheist think are immoral and wrong. And me as a Christian, in my head, I'm thinking of things that are immoral and wrong. And I understand a lot of atheists will even tell me, well, morality is ultimately a social construct. I had somebody ask me about if we use the Bible as a structure for exactly what's right and wrong. Well, I said, even I'll admit there's some gray areas in there. I mean, Rahab the prostitute, it wasn't the fact that the prostitute part, it was the fact that she lied. She helped protect Christians from being pursued, from people really basically trying to put them in jail or kill them. And she said, oh yeah, those guys, they went that way, when really she knew they were somewhere else. So she lied, but in the Bible, it's credited to her as righteousness. So, I get it. Like, there's gray areas in morality, and we can't all agree globally. Atheists do not have exactly the same views. Christians do not have exactly the same views. And that's fascinating to me. So, but here's where I want to take this conversation. You have what you believe is immoral, but ultimately, then there's what you believe as far as people should be punished or discriminated because of that belief. So I think this is a challenging conversation. Okay, so let me tell you where I stand, and you can kind of follow my lead and see how to navigate this thing and what I'm really trying to, get out of this in the comment section. Okay, so for me personally, some things that I morally oppose. I morally oppose abortion. We know that. I morally oppose abortion. Okay, but do I believe that we should make people feel bad that have had an abortion? Absolutely not. Christianity is all about grace. It's all about forgiveness. So yes, I do believe abortion is murdering unborn children. I do believe that. However, I don't believe in ever saying anything bad to someone who has gone through that. If anything, I have compassion. I'm thinking, man, there's a good chance they're still sorting this out, even if it's been years later. Every time they see a little kid, they're like, well, had I not had an abortion, I would have a child that. So I have compassion for people who've been in that situation, all right? So, okay, I morally disagree with homosexuality. But I do not believe in any way that homosexuals should be discriminated against. Run for president? Yeah. Adopt children? Yeah. Get a gay wedding cake, whatever. I don't care. Yeah, do it. Gay people should not be discriminated against because I morally disagree with how they live. Okay? And this is going to be more challenging because a lot of even Christians won't talk about this openly anymore, but I will. I definitely believe premarital sex is wrong. Okay? So do I go around judging people for that? Like, hey, I don't agree with your lifestyle. But no. Like, it'd be one thing if they come to my church and they see things the way I see it, and the Bible does teach against this. Okay. But am I going to go around looking down on people because they live differently than me? That they should somehow be treated differently or discriminated against because they don't see what they're doing as immoral? Absolutely not. So for me, yes, there's all kinds of things that are immoral. But should we ever discriminate against anyone for that? My answer is no. And granted, yes, we can say, well, there is breaking the law. What about that? What if someone commits cold-blooded murder, and absolutely they definitely did it, and the physical evidence is overwhelming. Okay, yeah, you still have to go to prison, and you still get a DUI. Okay, you have to still pay the punishment for the crime. But even then, it's not a matter of putting those people in a different category. It's a matter of, we all need grace, we all need forgiveness. So it's, and I named all these specific things, abortion, homosexuality, premarital sex. Okay, then let's make it about things that actually are in my world that specifically I encounter. So the easy go-to one is pride. To me, if there was one just absolute, just universal thing that people struggle with, it's pride. Thinking that you don't deserve something bad, or that you do deserve something good because of who you are, what you did. No. The whole thing about, well, why do bad things happen to good people? Who are the good people? Are the people who identify as good people? Is that how it works? No, I do not believe that there are good and bad people and that we deserve things accordingly. That's all up to God, who deserves what, whatever his will for us was. Then that's what I ultimately believe. And I believe he puts us through all kinds of struggles so that we become better people and have more faith in him, for those of us who are believers. And maybe sometimes he does that for people who are not believers, and they actually turn to God accordingly. There are many times in which that's been the case. But as far as pride, I think that's the universal thing. Thinking that you're better than anyone for any reason. So just because I'm aware of certain things that I believe are immoral, I don't think that I'm better than people who that's their struggles. No, I don't believe I'm better than them, because I've got my own stuff. So and the person who says, oh, well, I don't struggle with pride. Oh, you absolutely are. If you think that you don't, then yeah, absolutely you do. So yeah, pride by default. I think that pretty much affects everyone to some degree. And I think so easily in Christian culture it's gossip. That's the thing, it's almost a cliche at this point that, oh, taking prayer requests, having prayer meeting. Oh, you mean gossip hour? So it's a matter of, but if I'm secure in myself, I don't need to be talking about other people and their own problems. If I need to be talking about anybody's problems, it needs to be my own, and I'm going to ask for your help to sort it out. I mean, I made those videos that largely went ignored last month about the existential crisis, the midlife crisis, at age 38. And largely people ignored those videos. They didn't care about those videos. But that was me just being honest and real and saying, hey, this is what I'm going through right now. I'm open for advice and direction on this. And again, it fell on deaf ears. Most people didn't care at all about that. Of all the people who watched my videos, just no one cared. I accept that. But that was at least me being vulnerable and saying, this is me, this is what I'm going through. So, we all go through certain things. We all have certain struggles. And, I think to some degree, everybody struggles with gossip. Anytime you're going to talk about someone when they're not around, especially if you're correcting their mistakes without them knowing it, and you're putting yourself in a position where you're ultimately going to be judged, maybe on a greater scale, if that does get back to them, or even by the person who you gossip to, and now they're going to start seeing you differently, because if you're that judgmental toward another person, then how are you going to be to them when they're not around? I mean, that's very basic, but ultimately it still kind of goes into pride. So I think a lot of people by default go into that. And I think for me personally, growing up in ultimately Christian culture, there is a part of that, I think, when you're younger. And then I think as you get older, you realize, wow, I really am fundamentally not interested in judging other people, even privately, because man, the older you get, the more mistakes you make, and the more you realize, wow, I've come a long way. So that's where they're at on their journey in life, and I accept that. And if I can be here to help them, I will. But ultimately, the whole point of this video is, we all, and I think you as an individual atheist would agree, there are things in your head right now that you think are immoral. And for a lot of atheists, I perceive that they think, simply by being a Christian who lives their life accordingly, that's even immoral. A lot of people have told me that they think that is immoral ultimately to lead people astray by the faith of Christianity. They see ultimately that's immoral to them. Okay? Okay? And maybe some people would want me to be discriminated against and me to be punished because of that. Well, but what I'm saying is, I don't believe in discriminating against a person for any reason. I can't think, I mean, that's the struggle. I can't think of why it would ever be okay for anybody to be discriminated against. I believe it's the Christian's job to ultimately protect anybody who's being discriminated against or bullied or called names or ignored because of anything. I mean, specifically, I think I keep going back to gay culture. I just think a Christian's job is, if a gay person is being discriminated against, the first person that should show up is the Christian, to put an arm around them and care for them and show them love. To me, that's how I feel about it. So I'm 100% against discrimination. At the same time, I absolutely perceive things that I morally disagree with. And I think if we could find the thing that we'd agree on, this is what I'm hoping. That some of you could say, you know what, I get what you're saying. I do have things in my head as an atheist that I morally disagree with, but I don't believe people should be discriminated or punished because of that. And to that I can agree with you as a Christian. Yes, you see all kinds of things as sin, morally wrong. But what you're saying is that people should not be discriminated against. Not only am I saying that, we should be protecting those people, just like Jesus did in the Bible. They were ready to stone that lady because she was caught in adultery. Notice where was the man? But they were ready to kill her, and then Jesus drew the line in the sand and said, go ahead and throw the stone if you're the one without sin. You know, he protected the lady from being punished or discriminated against, hurt because of her perceived sin. That was the spotlight, and that's often what happens is people spotlight sins that they cannot relate to themselves. Well, here I am saying, okay, I can't relate to a lot of the things, but it doesn't matter because I believe that all of us were born as sinners and we all need to be saved by grace. So ultimately, there gives me no right to judge, to condemn, to gossip. Instead, it gives me every right to show love and compassion for everybody. Yes, I believe immorality exists in myself and everybody. But I do not believe in discrimination for any reason. I can't think of one exception. Never discrimination. Quite the opposite. Embracing that person and showing them love. Can you agree on any concepts that I've shared in this video? Your comments belong right here.